Hello, how you doing? Are you sitting there ready to sink your teeth into something and you just can't put your finger on it and figure out why you are been I mean, you've been fiending for some vampire action? It could be you saw Sinners. It could be. Or Nosferatu, which is another review that we've done. So Sinners, Nosferatu, check those out. They're in there somewhere in the 400 plus videos we have. I will challenge you this. Watch us. Check us out for just 3 minutes. 3 minutes of your time. Let us know in the comments what you're watching and what we should be watching. All right. Hit the subscribe button, like, follow, all that jazz. All right. So today we're going to talk about the Queen of the Dam, technically what it's called. This is from 2002. This is my generation. If you're a millennial baby, I'm an 80s baby, but if you're a millennial like me, you'll know this movie. It stars the late Aaliyah in it, and this has Stuart Townsend as the lead that plays Lestat, another vampire. Now, this is from a series of books and influential vampire stuff from Anne Rice, if I'm saying it correctly. If I am correct about it, I'm not into vampires. I'm not into that, but every now and then a vampire thing just gets me, and I'm watching it now. The interesting thing about this is IMDb says in this loose sequel, which I wasn't going to say, okay, in this loose sequel to Interview with the Vampire in 1994 with Tom Cruise, and put in the comments who else was in there with Tom Cruise. The vampire Lestat becomes a rock star whose music wakes up the equally beautiful and monstrous queen of all vampires. Okay, so the cool thing about this, I didn't know they're going to put this in here. A lot of people don't know that, yes, it is a sequel to Interview with the Vampire. Tom Cruise was this close to playing it, and that would have been it. Man, if Tom Cruise would have played in this movie, especially what this movie did and what happened after, it wouldn't be a cult. I don't even know if you can call it a cult classic. It's a cult movie that a lot of people kind of have a guilty pleasure for liking. Let me see what it did in the box office to see if I can find that on here. Box office wise, the budget was 35 million. It did half of that, unfortunately. Worldwide, it did 45. And I'm sure it made some good money afterwards in the DVDs because it got big, unfortunately, after the passing of Aaliyah, where her brother, who had a similar voice, had to do the dubbing later on because it wasn't done at that time. And there was also a song Jonathan from Korn wrote for her, and that we never got a chance to hear that. Now, Jonathan from Korn put together probably one of the best soundtracks in a vampire movie, other than maybe Blade. But let's go into my first impression. My first impression was I'm not into vampires, just not my thing. You know what I'm saying? To each his own. Now, I happen to be seeing trailers at the time, and I don't know what I mean. Obviously, it's Aaliyah grabbed my attention. And I said, I'm gonna check this out. So I go into my highs and lows. The lows for this is what it could have been, what it could have been if Tom Cruise was in. Now, don't get me wrong, Townsend does his thing in this, but just it carries more eyeballs, Tom Cruise in it. What could have been if Aaliyah wasn't tragically gone from us in the manner that she was? Um, the other thing about it was probably the story with this main queen of all the vampires. And it's interesting because she's the queen of vampires. They don't really specify it in here, but basically, if I have it correct, let me know. In the book series, which I've only read a few of the books, it's something along the lines of not Aaliyah's character, but the queen of them. I can't remember what her name is in here, but she basically has witches around her in her castle and stuff like that. And she's in a region that we would consider now would be like Iran or Iraq, something like that. And that's where she's at. Her husband is from Egypt. And basically, it's almost like Julius Caesar type stuff, or her council just sabotages stuff and just stabs the hell out of the husband and wife and stabs them to death. And the witches had at some point conjured up spirits, and evil spirits took advantage, and they basically, before her body was able to transition, her soul was able to transition, they intertwined themselves and put her back in her body along with that evil soul present. And when she woke up, she came to, she was alive. She saw that her husband was dying or dead or something like that. And so she proceeds to give him the gift of life. You take that how you want. And that's how you have the first two vampires, and then they go on and make others. So she's supposed to be the oldest vampire, and starting it as far as what Anne depicts in her books. Now, the good things I would say about this is it was an interesting concept. Now, mind you, this I believe is before Blade, before you get that music introduced and more of a cultural thing, pop culture type thing. It was interesting to see Lestat be this vampire who's publicly a vampire in the biggest rock band ever. And even saying it, hey, look, I went against everything, all the codes and everything like that. That was cool about it. The fashion, it was kind of dark and moody. It would have been a pretty cool video game. Was some of the stuff I liked about it. The biggest highlight would be the music. It's one of those things where the music outshines, in a way, outshines the poor acting that comes from some of the characters. Some of it was like forced accents for no real reason, but you paid no attention as soon as you heard do 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 do. If you know the song, put it in the comments. But this, I'm telling you, I don't have the list here, but you had Chester Bedingfield, I'm saying his name correctly, from the lead singer from Linkin Park. You had Korn on there. Jonathan was touching every fucking song. Jonathan did the voice for Lestat in this whole damn thing. He makes a brief cameo in it. So if you're a fan of Korn and metal, like I am, I listen to everything. The soundtrack is one of the best vampire soundtracks ever. Like, honestly, put in the comments what you think is better. Like, I'll listen to Blade. Blade had a good soundtrack, but I mean the soundtrack for the time and era for what this was, man, that was smooth. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and let's just rate this. Now, if I was rating the music, it'd be a 5 for worst case scenario, but it'd be a 5. But we're not here to rate the music. We're not here to do music ratings unless you tell us you want movie ratings, unless you say you want us to follow wrestling and sports and entertainment news. All we ask is you just watch 3 minutes. Watch 3 minutes. Okay. Let us know in the comments what we should be watching. Okay. Let us know. Hit the subscribe button, like, follow for more. Now, my rating for this cult classic to me is going to be a 3. Even though the music is awesome. It is. It really is. The story is captivating. The execution of it, though, falls flat. Falls, unfortunately, very flat. Stone cold, even. You would think it doesn't have a pulse. You see what I did there? I mean, the damn vampires, cold to touch, dead. If I gotta explain, it's not funny. I know. Listen, at the end of the day, you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here. And I greatly appreciate that. Until next time, kalika loud.